everybody, welcome back to my corner of the internet, Larry Crafts. I hope you've been having a lovely September. I hope you've been enjoying the change in weather wherever you are in the world. We have finally started the slow descent into autumn, and today is kind of the perfect autumn weather for me, I think. We've got glorious sunshine, but like it's crisp air outside. And that's exactly the kind of autumn day I enjoy. Not the rainy, cloudy, grey days that we normally get in the UK. So I've been outside today enjoying the weather. I went for a little walk with my mocha. Just enjoying the outside. I hope you've had some time to enjoy the change in season wherever you are as well. Today is a regular podcast episode. When I sat down to prepare for this video, I was pretty convinced that I didn't have much to talk about. And now that I've collected everything, I have been proven wrong. So I do have a finished object, which I thought I'd already talked about as a finished object, but apparently I haven't. And I have two works in progress. One is kind of further along than the other, and then some very small acquisitions. So my finished object for today is my blouse number 1. Now I thought I had talked about this, but apparently not from looking at my last episode. It looks like it was still a work in progress, so I don't really know where it was up to last time, but it's finished now, finished and blocked. I knitted this, so it's patterned by My Favourite Things Knitwear. I knitted this in Knitting for Olive Pure Silk in their colour Poppy Rose, which is just a really, really gorgeous pink colour. I'm really pleased with it. It has these gorgeous kind of subtle bell sleeves. And this kind of boat neck / neck at the top. I'm sure you've seen it before. It's a very popular pattern. The body doesn't have increases. No, the body doesn't have decreases in it, which I was expecting it to have. The sleeves do have a slight decrease and then increase, but it's very, very minor. I am really, really happy with this. When I started this project, was a little bit hesitant about the sizing, so I believe I knitted the second size. I will put it in the description if I'm incorrect. And I was a little bit cautious about having 10 centimetres of negative ease, but actually, and I'll put some pictures on screen while I talk about this finished object so you can see me wearing it. It actually didn't come out with like being particularly tight fitting, which I'm really, really pleased about. I did originally cast off the body, and then once I'd done the sleeves, I went back and unpicked it just because I felt it was a little too short for my liking. I don't generally wear things cropped, but I didn't want to do any more body length because it was kind of getting to my hips and it just wouldn't sit right on my hips. So what I did was unpick the body and I added 2 sets of increases just on either side to kind of accommodate for my hips, I guess. And then I added a little bit more length, and I'm really pleased that I did that. After blocking, it did actually turn out quite, I don't know, like drapey. It did sort of, I guess, loosen up, expand more than I expected this fabric to grow. So I potentially didn't even need to do that, but I'm quite happy that I did. And I'm quite happy that I added those increases. I've worn this quite a few times now, maybe about 10 times since I finished it. So it's definitely getting some wear. It's definitely proving to be kind of a staple in my wardrobe. I'm quite happy with how the silk is wearing as well. It's not too kind of rubbed up, which I'm pleased about. And I'm actually quite happy that the edges of my sleeves and my body haven't rolled as much as I expected them to. And I didn't do any particularly fancy bind off. I didn't do a kind of no rolling bind off or anything like that. I just did a regular knitted bind off. And they've rolled a little bit, but it's not drastic. So I'm quite happy about that. And yeah, I'm just really happy with the way that this kind of fits in my wardrobe. I will definitely knit this pattern again now that I feel more confident about the fit of it and how it sits around my shoulders and my armpits and things, that it's kind of not too tight. I think I will knit this in a merino or a cotton merino for kind of autumn, spring wear, even winter wear, I guess, as a layering piece. So there you go. That is my blouse number 1 by My Favourite Things Knitwear. Tick. Done. Oh, I should say actually, before I carry on with my works in progress, I should tell you what I'm wearing. I'm supposed to do that, aren't I? I'm wearing the... Oh, what am I wearing? The cardigan number 9, I think. Again, by My Favourite Things Knitwear. I think it's number 9. It's a saddle shoulder construction. It has a really nice kind of double knitting detail on the collar, which I really enjoyed. I made this in... Have I talked about this on the podcast already? Maybe I have. I made this in the grey that was renamed, that's maybe called Thundercloud, or was called Thundercloud by Knitting for Olive in their Heavy Merino. Something like that. And a Rauma Garn Alpaca Silk, which is, off the top of my head, I think an alpaca silk and merino blend. And that is in their dark grey colour. Sorry I couldn't be more specific about that. I'm hoping I think I've talked about this on the podcast before. If I have, there'll be more accurate information where I have talked about it. But a button fell off this cardigan not too long ago, and I hadn't fixed it in a little while because it was summer and I wasn't wearing this cardigan because this cardigan is quite warm. But now it's kind of a bit more crisp. It's more knitwear appropriate weather. I fixed the button today, I sewed a new one on, and so this is what I'm wearing. So there you go. Apologies if that was all completely incorrect information. My cat is sat on the bed watching me. She's a little grumpy, I think. I think she wants to be fed. It's not quite your dinner time yet. Almost. Yeah. She's also been sneezing in the background, so I apologise if you can hear her. I think she's got some grass up her nose while she was outside. Anyway, my works in progress. This really needs to be on a longer cable, to be honest. Let me see if I can hold that up. There we go. So this is the Marielle Scarf by Marias Verden. I'm sure you've all seen pointelle knits going round, doing the rounds on social media. And I, like every other person on the internet, have decided that I wanted to knit some pointelle for autumn. I was originally looking at the Marielle Blouse, which is gorgeous, and I would definitely still like to knit at some point. But to kind of scratch the pointelle itch now, I cast on the Marielle Scarf, just as like a scrappy project, really. So this yarn is Filcolana Merci, which is 50% merino, superwash merino, 50% cotton. I used this to knit my Cumulus blouse by PetiteKnit, and I had more balls left over than I was expecting to. I had 2.5 balls pretty much, and I decided that I was just going to cast this on as a bit of a stash busting scrappy project. These sorts of scarves, shawls, whatever you want to call them, are really useful for those sorts of things because so with this one, you just cast on at the middle and then you kind of work your way outwards. And there are increases to kind of shape the slopes of the side. So it's really quite a simple pattern to knit. It's an easy repeat to memorise, but it's kind of got enough in it that it keeps your engagement and your interest. So this has been my travel project recently, although I have worked on it a little bit when I'm not travelling just because I really enjoy it. Please hold, I've just dropped a stitch. Classic. This is why I need to put it on a longer cable. At the moment it's on my 60cm cable and it's just outgrown that. But it's this really lovely lace pointelle repeat. Can you see that? Let me hold it in front of my face. There you go, yeah. Which is just really, really lovely and I'm really enjoying knitting it. I am just going to knit until either I run out of yarn or I decide that it's big enough. I'm going for shawl size rather than scarf size or bandana size. There are like yarn quantities for all of those in the pattern now. The designer did update it recently to include like shawl sizes. So really easy, really fantastic pattern for just kind of a bit of trouble knitting. Okay, and the last thing that I have on my needles is kind of a whole lot of nothing at the moment. So this is as much as it exists. It's a whole lot of nothing. But this is the start of my Novice Slipover by PetiteKnit. And I'm knitting this because one of my friends has been learning to knit and she is at the point where she wants to start knitting garments. So I'm teaching her kind of garment construction and kind of introducing her to garment knitting through this slipover pattern. So we kind of chose it together. She told me what she wanted and I went away and had a look at some potential patterns. The Novice Slipover is exactly what it says on the tin. It's perfect for beginners. So this is, I think it's recommended to knit on 5mm needles to get a 17 stitch and 25 row gauge. I've gone up to 5.5, but it's a really big, easy gauge to get. I'm using leftover yarn, so I'm really happy I'm getting something out of stash. This is leftover Gepard garn from my dad's Christmas jumper, his Bolton Wanderers Christmas jumper. And this is, I believe it's their navy blue colour, but I really like this colour because it's leans more grey than other navies, I guess. It's not very royal blue, it's more kind of, well, I don't know if it's actually showing up very well on camera, but it kind of leans a bit more grey, which I like and I think suits me better. So this is a whole lot of nothing at the moment. This is just the back panel. The back panel doesn't have any German short rows in it or increases or anything like that. It's just a straight down kind of back panel till you get to the armholes, the shaping for the armholes. So really straightforward. And hopefully at the end of this, we will have two lovely matching Novice slipovers. My friend is knitting hers in a dark brown melange colour from Filcolana in their Peruvian Highland wool. She doesn't have a sensitive skin as me, which I'm quite jealous about, because she will have so many more fantastic yarns that she is able to use when she starts making jumpers. So yeah, there you go. And that's all that's on my needles at the moment. I am still knitting my Maud sweater by Morica Knit. I haven't really made any progress on that. I've picked up some stitches for the left shoulder, the right shoulder. I don't even know which one. The first shoulder. And I'm working on that. But I haven't really made any notable progress. So that will reappear when I have. Which I'm sure will be in time for the next episode. But I've been working on other things recently. I wanted to finish my blouse number 1 before I went on holiday to Oxford. I went on a little staycation with my partner, which I did. I was very glad I did that. And then I've just been moving about a bit, travelling a bit, other things have been taking up my time. So there we go. In terms of acquisitions, I have 2 very small acquisitions. As I just mentioned, I went on a little staycation to Oxford and I did have to go in the Oxford yarn store. I didn't buy any yarn in the Oxford yarn store, which is kind of unheard of for me to visit a yarn store and come away with no yarn, but personal growth, I guess. But I did come away with 2 of their little glass stitch markers. Let me see if I can there we go. Look at those. So these are little glass stitch markers from the Oxford yarn store that I think the owner's family member, mum maybe, makes, is what they told me. Anyway, they're gorgeous and I love them. And I will use them as beginning of round markers probably, particularly when I'm knitting like raglans and things. I like to use a special stitch marker to mark the beginning of round, and then just like basic closed stitch markers to mark my raglan stitches and things. And these ones are like light bulb ones, so you could use them on crochet, or you could use them to mark increases in the body, and they have really big like bulb bits, I guess. So they'll fit on my larger needles. So I'm well chuffed with these. Yeah, just a little memento from our trip, a little treat. I think those are all the updates I have to share with you. A slightly shorter episode, but as I said, I have been spending lots of time doing other things, spending time outside, spending time with people, with friends and family, and just a little less time knitting. Now that the seasons are changing, I will probably spend a little more time knitting. I've got some plans for jumpers and cardigans that I want to get off my needles before it gets too cold, so I can kind of wear them in the cooler weather. If you are also in the Northern Hemisphere, I hope you are enjoying the change in seasons and the more autumnal weather. I'm so happy that we've got slightly cooler weather now and I'm not overheating all the time and I can actually wear my knitwear. This is fantastic. I'm wishing you rest and a lovely week ahead. And if you are playing Yarn Chicken, I hope that you win. Bye everybody.